Hey everyone, welcome back to the Shutter and Compass podcast. I'm Megan.
And I'm Shelby.
And today we are going full hearts with the Valentine's theme. If you're watching, you can see our sweaters. And if you're listening, we are wearing adorable heart sweaters. If you want the link, let us know.
I mean, this is the best thing to wear for something called Splash of Romance.
Totally. So today we are talking all about Splash of Romance. It is February. It's almost Valentine's Day. And so for all of February, we are focusing on Virgin Voyages, and today, Splash of Romance is perfect just in time for Valentine's Day. So we're going to tell you what it is and what we thought about it because we did do it on our last cruise.
And most importantly, why we really encourage you to also get it every single time you travel with Virgin Voyages.
I highly would recommend it, and we'll tell you why. So first off, Splash of Romance is a package that you can add onto your cruise. It does sell out. It is limited. So if you want it, you want to get it early so that you don't miss out. It right now is $250 per cabin, and that is either for one or two people, depending on how many are in your cabin. If you have one person in your cabin and your friend is going solo in their cabin, you cannot share it. It is per cabin, but it is good for up to two people in the same cabin.
And for $250, it is a great, great deal.
Yeah.
And this is as of 2025, so February 2025. Mm-hmm. So it is definitely something worth at least hearing us about, because really the value that you get from this is beyond words. And we'll start with our very first thing.
The biggest thing. Honestly, $250 for the first thing is worth it alone. The rest of it's a perk. And if you actually put all the things you get and the cost and you try to figure out if it's worth the money, okay, I don't care. This first thing is worth the $250 alone. Just trust us.
And I've done it both ways now, and I highly recommend every single time doing it Splash of Romance way. So this is the main reason.
You get priority boarding. So let's caveat this real quick. If you are in a Rockstar suite, this is probably not going to sway you. So everything we just said is going to apply to anyone who is in a sea terrace or below. So not a suite guest. You get to go into a priority boarding line that when we got there, there was nobody in. We literally cut everybody in that building and got right on the ship, and everyone else was in a huge line.
And this is not an exaggeration, by the way. Literally, there was a very long line for everybody else, and then it was like priority boarding. And we were like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, because honestly, after traveling and after spending a day in San Juan, we were just kind of ready to be settled and start our trip. And for me, that is actually like getting on to the boat. Yeah. And so when you have to stand in line, it doesn't really matter how long it is. It's just kind of daunting. So when you actually walk up and you just like get to go through, amazing.
Right. And the order of operations for Virgin is Rockstar guests first, then Splash of Romance, and then everyone else. So you get to get on the ship before all the regular people, but after the suite guests. So if you're in a suite, maybe this isn't going to be that big of a deal, but for the rest of us, this is huge and it's worth $250. And I will tell you the second part of this. If you do priority boarding, you are on the ship first, which means you have first access to booking any of the things you want to book. So as soon as you're on the ship, you get on the ship's Wi-Fi, and then that's when you can start booking things like the bungee class, the grog walk, those things that are going to sell out, and you want to be on as early as possible to get a chance to get them. This is huge for that also.
Absolutely. And so that's one great reason in and of itself that you get to sign up for these things. I think the other, you get to your room, they will bring you your luggage, which is fantastic. It happened really fast for us this last time. But then you get to go and chill. You can explore the boat. You can do what we do, which is head to the dock.
Pro tip there.
And officially start your vacation. And there's just something about just settling and not feeling rushed to get from thing to thing and having to, I don't know, there weren't many people that we had to like go through. You know, we could get to our room, no problem. It just felt, I don't know, we felt kind of super important. I don't know, it was just kind of us hanging out.
Yeah, you're one of the first people on the ship, which is amazing. And we do love to start at the dock and get one of those sunbeds. And so you can get there, grab a sunbed before they're all gone. It's just great to get on the boat first. And you're paying for this vacation. you want to start it as soon as you can, get more bang for your buck. So get on as early as you possibly can. So if you are not in a suite, that $250 is worth it. One, not to stand in line, and two, to get on and start your trip early and get things booked that maybe you didn't get booked. We've talked about dining reservations before, but I'll mention it again in this context. Only about, I think it's a third, I might be wrong on that, but a small fraction are open before you get on the ship. The rest of them open on the ship. And the reason is because they want the Rockstar agents, which is, they're called roadies, that's like their concierge for each Rockstar guest. They want them to be able to have the flexibility to book whatever they want. So all of those dining reservations need to stay open. Well, once they've been on the ship and they've gotten their stuff booked, there might be some stuff left. There might, you're going to find something, but it might not be the time you want at the place you want on the day you want. So get on early and you can have access to even like finding a better dining reservation than maybe what you already had.
Creating that schedule is really, really important too for excursions. The time that you have to be back on the boat after excursions or when you're at port, whatever it is, it just helps make that process a little bit easier because that schedule is set to what you need as opposed to it, just filling in those holes. You don't want to have to go to an early dining if you get to stay at port a little later. For
me. Or if a show is at a certain time that you really want to see, you might want a different dining time or a different restaurant on a different day. Like Test Kitchen takes a long time, so we put that on our C day because we wanted to be able to have the time and not feel rushed while we were there. So there's little things like that. So priority boarding, worth $250 alone, unless you're a rock star. If you're a rock star,
that's not going to be the make or break for you, but this might be. You also get to go and you're the two people in the room. If you're two people, you get to have 3 hours in the thermal spa.
That's right. So each cabin gets...
That's the word I was looking for.
Each cabin gets 2 or 1, depending on your occupancy, passes to the thermal spa. So if there are 2 people in your room, you both get a 3-hour pass. If there's 1 person in your room, you only get 1 3-hour pass. You can't share it with a friend. It's got to be the people in the cabin. And we went the first day down to the spa and we booked our time slot, and they had a little chart with 3-hour time slots. So you didn't get to just make one up. You had to pick one. But I mean, they were all throughout the day. There was tons to choose from. And you get to go anytime in that 3-hour window. You don't have to show up on time. And honestly, I don't think that they checked what time we left or anything like that. I mean, I'm not saying stay longer than you're supposed to. I'm just saying I don't think they're going to kick you out.
It didn't seem like a hard, fast rule. No. I don't remember someone like clocking us in or paying attention to when we left. Not that I think we stayed too long or anything like that.
We didn't. We weren't there for a full 3 hours, but you could if you wanted. And it just has to be in that window. So if you only wanted to stay for an hour, you could show up a little late. So you don't have to worry about being on a hard schedule, which I appreciate. You have that window. And there's a lot to do in the thermal spa. If you're not familiar with what a thermal spa is, there is a mud room and they have little paper cups of mud, and you can take as many cups as you want and just like cover yourself in mud.
So it's a really, really hot steam room. And so it opens up the pores, and again, get those little cups. So probably, grab 2 if you need them.
Yeah.
And then you just slather yourself in mud and you sit there kind of for as long as you're able to. I don't know, like 10 minutes, something along those lines. I don't remember there being directions for this.
No, I think it was a choose your own adventure. They're like, here's mud, here's a steam room.
But it gets really, really hot in there. So you probably don't want to stay too long. Yeah. But yeah, so it opens up the pores and all the things, and then you get to like shower it all off. But it was a cool experience. If you've never done it, it's a great place to try something different.
It was. And I will say, wear black or something you don't care about, because I had a light blue bathing suit on and I did stain it with the mud. So just FYI for that.
I happened to be wearing black and mine was fine. So.
Yeah, just wear black or something you don't care about. So that was a lot of fun. I did like the steam room in the mud, and the shower's right in the steam room. So you're not traipsing across the spa covered in mud. You rinse it off right where you are, which is kind of nice. And then
can I make a little caveat?
Yeah.
It's kind of a funny caveat. If you're going as a couple, just remember people can see you. Just FYI. Read into that what you would like.
Yeah.
But if you happen to go as a couple, there are windows. People can see whatever it is that you're doing in the steam room.
Apply your own mud to your own self is also a part of this caveat. If you're putting mud on your partner, know that people can see you through the glass window, and
it's worth noting, if you like that kind of thing and being kind of a spectacle, that's, you do you. However, just in case you're not aware, we can all see what's happening in that room.
Yeah. They weren't doing anything like super, super over the line. It was just like
showing the line really closely.
Yeah. Like, okay, dudes.
Yeah. So just a little caveat, just in case anyone has any weird ideas about that.
Yeah. Yeah. Put your own mud on your own self. That's what I will say. But no, it was great. And then they have a salt room. The salt room was nice. Mm-hmm. You press a button and the salt kind of blows in. It's really good for respiratory stuff. Mm-hmm. All kinds of health benefits for the salt room.
Which there are random cases of like cruise cough or whatever. And that would be a place that I would go if I was experiencing something like that. So it's great that they offer it and they have something like that there because it is supposed to be really good for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then there's also a dry sauna. So you can go sit in the sauna. We skipped that because we had enough heat in the mud room. We didn't need any more heat.
But the guys liked it. The guys went in there for a little bit and they enjoyed it. And then did they do the cold plunge?
Probably. I don't know what order they did, but yes. There is a cold plunge pool. There's little hot tubs. Mm-hmm. Or is there one hot tub?
There's 2 cold plunges and 1 hot tub.
Yeah, 2 cold plunges, 1 hot tub. And then there's like a little pool in the middle of the room that anyone can sit in. You can have, because the cold plunge and the hot tub, I feel like 2 people's probably your max. It's not very big, but the pool in the middle of the room, you could fit several people in. But we thought it was a little chilly.
It was chilly. I don't know if we just had a weird random day, but it was really chilly. So it didn't feel like
you didn't want to get in.
It wasn't refreshing. It wasn't cold plunge cold. It wasn't that level, but it was not warm either.
Yeah, it was a little too chilly. I think had it been more similar to a hot tub, or maybe not as hot as a hot tub, but just warm, like a heated pool temperature,
bath water or something like that. But it was definitely not bath water the day we went.
It was a little too cold, so we did not get in the regular pool. We did get in the hot tub for a little bit, and that was great. Mm-hmm. We enjoyed the hot tub for sure.
And there's only one of those, right?
I believe there was only one.
Which is kind of sad because I feel like more people would appreciate the hot tub over the 2 cold plunges. But
I would agree with that. I mean, for me personally. Other people like it.
We're not into the cold plunge. So let us know if you are and if you would find more use out of the cold plunges. But I would have done better, I think, with another hot tub. Mm-hmm. Because I do feel it was not crowded at all. But there were pockets of people, and I do feel like that was one that people would want to go into more. And I feel like there was more, I don't want to say a line, because there's plenty of things that you can do aside from that. But people were probably eyeing it for when it got open.
Definitely. I mean, we did. We were waiting for the mud couple to get out of the hot tub, and then we were like,
Mud couple, I'm sorry if you're watching this and you happen to remember us, but yeah.
You know who you are. Yeah. Okay. And then what else was in the thermal spa? There's the marble beds that are warm that you can lay on.
Mm-hmm. The first time I went on Scarlet Lady a year ago, it was really nice and warm. I have fibromyalgia and joint and muscular pains. So for me, I was like, oh my gosh, this is kind of nice. This last time that we went in December, I did not feel it was like as warm. It didn't feel like it was doing much of anything for me.
Yeah. So that's interesting. And I wonder if you could ask them at the spa, like, oh, is this as warm as it gets? Can you turn it up? Like, how you can sometimes adjust temperatures of like hot tubs and stuff. I wonder if they could. We didn't think to ask, but that'd be interesting to know since it was different. Mm-hmm. All right. So thermal spa, you get 3 hours. That's a great use of the $250. If the priority boarding didn't already do it for you, you're on your way to making your money back.
And if you don't already have spa services booked and, you didn't really want to jump into doing a full out spa service, I do think this is a great intro to the spa and like what it can do for you. You can learn, they are very eager to tell you all about the services they offer, and they're great services. But I do think this is a great intro if you're not ready to make that full commitment into a spa service.
Yeah, if you just want to check it out or you don't want to give up time, especially if you're on a shorter cruise or maybe like in ours, it was a 7-night cruise. It was a longer cruise, but we still only had one sea day. So maybe you don't want to devote a lot of time to the spa. This is a good way because you can get in, check it out, get a feel for it, and then you don't have to stay and, sit through like an hour-long massage or something.
Absolutely. And this all goes back to that priority boarding, getting there early, booking when you want to have the services done, whether it be thermal or a spa or whatever. Again, just another great push for that Splash of Romance package.
Definitely. And we could have booked our thermal spa time on the sea day because we were on early, but we purposely didn't because we only had one sea day and we knew everybody would go to the thermal spa on their sea day. So we didn't. We did it on a day that we had an early back to the boat time for our excursion. And we went after, and it did feel really nice going after being at the beach and, coming back, and we were already in our bathing suits. We went to the mud room and we sat in the hot tub, and it was a nice, relaxing way to end a day of being in the sun on the beach.
And we didn't feel pressed for time. And again, it wasn't that busy when we went, probably because everyone else was there on the sea day. Right. But it felt very relaxing. It wasn't overwhelming at all.
Yeah, definitely. People are going to book their spa days on the sea day. That's just the way it's going to go. So if you want to be in the spa with nobody else, don't pick a sea day. That's a pro tip.
Keep watching us, and that way we can tell you the places that you really want to spend a little extra time at, and some places that, well, you can spend some time and head back to the boat early. That's also helpful too. So because there are some of those islands I wanted to stay longer because they were so fantastic, and some that I was like, okay, it's good that we get to go back to the boat. Like, it was good. We came, we saw, we can go now.
Definitely. All right. The next one is a curated daily cold pressed juice. There were, I believe, 4 options. There was a yellow one that was kind of more sweet. There was a red one that I know had beet in it, a green one,
orange.
Maybe an orange one, something like that. Yeah, they were good. We did like them, and you each get one every morning. But the thing is, you have to go to the gym and tonic bar to get it, and they usually cut it off at 11 a.m. So if you don't get up till 11 a.m. because you want to party the night away in the manor, this is not going to be a tip for you or a perk for you.
You are going to miss out. And I mean, if you have someone in the cabin who can go get that for you, or does the person have to be there?
No, you don't have to be there.
Okay. I was going to say, because I feel like Jason was able to go grab.
Yeah, your cabin mate can bring it back to you. And one morning we went, and I was there with Josh, and he got a juice, and I didn't want one that day. I just wasn't in the mood for a juice. And so the bartender was like, oh, well, do you want me just to make his a double? And he said, yeah. And he was like, yeah, you guys get 2. I can put them in the same glass. Like, no problem. So that was cool. And he did love the juices. He was going every morning and making sure he got his juice. And again, Virgin focuses on wellness. You're traveling, especially if you're island hopping, who knows what you're picking up. It's nice to start your morning with a dose of something healthy.
Now, the only thing that I kind of wish was a little bit different about this is if they were able to bring the juices to the room.
Yeah.
Simply because no one wants to see me, and I don't really want to see anybody before like 10 a.m. That's just the way my life works. So getting me down there was not what I wanted to do. So if it came to the room, I would appreciate that a little bit more, but it is a nice perk overall. And especially, again, if you are trying to stay healthy or feel better about the meal you ate last night or whatever, it's a nice way to start your day.
Definitely. And those juices are an upcharge. So when we say you get a juice, if you don't have this package, you would have to pay for that juice every morning.
And it's negligible. I mean, it's not much. It's like $7 or something. But,
I think it was $7.
Added up over the, the days that we were there and 2 people in the cabin, it does add up. So if you do like those fresh juices, again, this is not a bad thing to consider.
For sure. All right, the next one is a shake for champagne.
I just want to say there's still more. So all of these perks that we just mentioned, and there's still more.
And there's still more. So next up is a shake for champagne. So what is that? That is if you take your phone out and you open the Virgin app and you shake your phone, the screen will like kind of fizz up, and then a button will appear that says push me if you want champagne. Now, your bracelet is a geolocator medallion thing, and that will track you anywhere on the ship. So if you do that and you say, yes, I want the champagne, they will bring you a bottle of chilled champagne in an ice bucket with 2 glasses anywhere you are on the ship. So normally you would have to pay for that, obviously a whole bottle of champagne. You get one included. So now we're up to priority boarding, 3 hours in the thermal spa per person, a daily cold pressed juice per person, and a bottle of champagne. So, and there's still more. But that's a big one. A shake for champagne's a big one because those get expensive.
It is. And they are good. The champagne is really good. I'm not a huge champagne person, but I do enjoy celebrating with some. So yes, that is definitely a perk to have.
And if you want to get this, but you don't drink champagne, you can do it and gift it to somebody. If there's a nice couple next to you at the bar or something, I don't know. You could donate it to a party if you're hanging out. We went to a event on the ship that was thrown by some friends. We could have totally brought. Well, we did bring bottles of champagne actually. So I'm just saying, even if you're like, I don't drink champagne, it comes with it anyway. Get it and give it to someone.
Mm-hmm. You will find friends on the cruise. And if you go with a group of friends, I mean, it's just a fun little thing to do for somebody. Mm-hmm. Get something nice and special. And it's at a cost that you've already paid. So why not use the perk?
Exactly. All right. So shake for champagne. That's pretty cool. The next one is an exclusive sail away party. We didn't make the sail away party. I'm going to be real honest. We had every intention of going. But here's the thing. When you're on vacation, don't make yourself do things that you don't care about or you don't want to go. Yeah, we wanted to go check it out to see what it was all about. But we were having fun. We were doing our own thing. And when the time came to go, we didn't want to, so we didn't. So while, yes, it is a perk to have an exclusive sail away party, and I'm sure it was lovely, don't do something that you don't really want to do because you feel like you have to because you have it.
And it is exclusive and it's nice. And I don't exactly know what it entails, but I will say there are other parties. So you're not going to be left out if you're someone who enjoys these types of activities.
Yeah.
There are still other ones. Scarlet Night, pajama party. There are other things that you can do and enjoy and just have a really, really good time. So you don't have to feel like, oh, I paid for this, I have to go. You don't really have to feel that way. If you're enjoying yourself, you paid for that too.
Absolutely. And the regular sail away party is free champagne and it is unlimited. They're just passing out glasses. So you can grab as many glasses as you're able to go up there and grab. So sail away party, it does come with complimentary drinks, but you can also get that at the regular sail away party. And it might be different drinks than champagne. Again, we didn't go, so we don't really know. But that is a perk. You get an exclusive party with complimentary drinks. That's lovely. If you have friends that didn't get the package and they're going to the regular sail away party, go with them and hang out there. You still get free champagne. Just do what you want to do and don't feel like you have to do it because it's included. But I'm sure it's lovely. All right. The next one is sultry bites. Now this one, I can see people being conflicted about the monetary value of this because when you're on a cruise, food is free or included. So adding food doesn't add a monetary value. I understand that because that's the first because that's the first thing people are going to say is, why am I getting food on a cruise where I get free food? What they ended up doing was when we would get back from our excursions, we would have a little treat left in our cabin. And it was nice to come back to your cabin and have something there kind of ready to munch on as you're getting ready for dinner, or you've just gotten back from the beach or whatever. So it was nice timing for these little things to show up. Were they actually that great? They were okay. I will say they weren't anything spectacular. One time we got macarons and they were rose petal and Aleppo pepper, I believe. They just tasted sweet. They didn't taste like anything, and they weren't the best macarons I've ever had. They were just okay, but it was a nice surprise still. And we got chocolates one time, just different little treats. And it was a nice surprise. I liked it. Nothing was like, oh my gosh, I wish I could get that again, which is good because you can't. You can only get it in this. So these treats they're bringing you are not found anywhere else on the ship.
So maybe if you're like a foodie, and again, real honesty here, I didn't actually get to eat mine because I kept thinking that we would film it.
I filmed mine.
I thought we were going to do it. Anyways, so I didn't get to eat mine. And here's why. We came back from probably an excursion or something. And I guess the room attendant probably thought that we just didn't want them. And so they were gone, which is a little bit sad for me because I was excited to try it. But I will say I'm also not a huge, I don't know, unique food eater. So when Megan was describing it, I was like, okay, I probably didn't miss anything I needed to have in my life.
No, I will say Virgin has fantastic desserts up in the galley that were much better than anything that was delivered to our room in this package. Was it nice to come back and have a surprise? Absolutely. Did we eat them? Sure. But would I say get this because they're delicious, amazing treats? No,
And
I wouldn't
again,
say that.
this is called a splash of romance. So hypothetically, if you're with, a partner, your husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, this is a fun thing to do to treat someone else too. So they'll know about it because I'm pretty sure it's on the booking, but it's still fun to come back to something nice in your room like that. Either way, like I said, I didn't get to eat it, but I was still like, oh, that's really nice. That's so thoughtful. It's almost like I forgot that we had gotten that. I know that sounds really silly.
Yeah.
But one day our blanket was like folded into a heart. And again, it was just a cute addition to like you're on vacation, but there's still long days. Like it's still walking. It's still learning about a new place or driving in an area, well, not us, but being in a car in a scary area, potentially just because of the roads being crazy. They're long days. And so coming back to something as simple as like a nice little blanket folded in a heart, that's really nice. Like take that little blanket, go cuddle up in a hammock together, you know?
So, say you're a numbers person and you want the actual breakdown on the numbers. We just ran them real quick. So, what we figured out was the fresh pressed juices, or I'm sorry, cold pressed juices. It's not fresh, it's cold. The cold pressed juices are $7 or $8 a day or a drink per person. So, you're getting 2 of those a day, assuming you have 2 people in your cabin. So, we're going to go with $8 because that's the more expensive one. That comes out to $112 if you're on a 7-night cruise. Now, obviously, if you're on a 5-night cruise, your numbers might come out a little different. We did 7, so we went with 7. So $112 for the juice. 2 thermal passes is going to be about $118.
And that price is going to be a little bit different, plus or minus $20, because it depends on if you're at sea or if you're at port, what exactly that cost is.
And we did the cheaper one, so it could be higher if you did the more expensive one. And again, these prices are subject to change. So we figured for 2 people on the cheaper day for a thermal pass, it's about $118. And then a shake for champagne is about $100. So that together is $330, and the splash of romance only costs $250. Mm-hmm. So
and that's not including all of the other perks that you're getting along with that.
That's right. So just for the juice, the thermal pass, and the shake for champagne, you've already made your money back. Mm-hmm. The priority boarding is also a bonus again, unless you're a rock star. So even if you're a rock star, this still might be something that you would want to do.
Absolutely. I'm glad we took the time to actually run a few of the numbers, because I do think that kind of puts in perspective that it is really a great deal overall. And I'm actually a little bit sad to tell you guys about it, because I want to make sure that I get the splash of romance every time I go. So therefore, if you really want to do that, and I'm going to be on that cruise, make sure you book really soon, because you don't want to miss out, because they are limited.
Yeah, absolutely. And that would be so sad. And, keep checking back, because if you book a later cruise, like a last minute one, and they are sold out, keep checking back, because people always are moving their trips and canceling and rebooking something. So you never know when things will pop open. So that's a tip with anything. And that was one of the biggest tips I would give Disney clients is just check back, because stuff is always moving. And same applies here.
I'll say Disney and Virgin.
Yeah.
Disney.
No, it's true. That's the biggest tip. Like Disney reservations, just to go on a little tangent here, they're so about booking the perfect dining and this and that. And some of them are so hard to get. Just keep trying, because people are always moving their trip, canceling their trip, ditching a reservation for something else. So if something is sold out or unavailable, just keep checking back.
And be patient with your travel agent.
Yeah.
They're doing the very best they can, I promise.
It's a hard job, you guys. It's a really hard job. So give them some love. So overall, I personally highly recommend this, especially if you are not a rock star. I feel like we got our money's worth just with the priority boarding alone. And then the spa time, the shake for champagne, the little treats, the cold pressed juices. to me, that was all bonus because the priority boarding, skipping that whole line and getting right on the ship and getting on early, being able to get on at, you're getting on at like 1:30 versus 3:30. I mean, that's huge.
And
skipping the line is huge.
Laying out on the, at the dock, just kind of laying on the sunbeds because they were available. They were there because we were there before other people were there. And you get to kind of just go and check around the ship. And of course, we went on vacation, but we were still doing work because we're still filming content. We're trying to make sure that we bring you the best that we can also. So we did a little bit more exploring, but you can do that too in just a casual way and not feeling so rushed and with so many other people. And I will say, I keep saying like so many other people, but not once, maybe except the elevator on the
on the last day.
On the last day. Disembarkation, yes, it gets a little crazy and it gets a little bit crowded. And I do think they do a good job, with what they have to do based on other cruises I've been on. But overall, the rest of the time that we were there, I didn't feel like we were bombarded by so many people around us or anything like that. I just think it's fun to get there early and to enjoy it while there's not a ton of people around.
Definitely. And if you don't want to have crowds around you, just be a morning person on this cruise because nobody's moving until lunchtime.
There's some really go-gettery types out there.
There's some, but not the bulk of the people. And honestly, the ship never really does feel crowded because everything is like split up enough that wherever you are, there's only really a few people around you at most times. So, the only time everyone's all in the same place is probably like around the pool at Scarlet Night. Other than that, you don't really have too much of a crowd, which is nice.
Yeah. Again, you don't really notice that there are that many people there, probably until the day you leave.
Yeah. But there's only a few sunbeds. So if you want to get that sunbed at the dock, get on the boat early. And, you could go there another day of your cruise. And we did. We went back a few times, but it's a really great place to start your cruise and get that resort vibe, get a drink before you've even left the port.
Yes. So I would say that the Splash of Romance package is probably, I don't know, number one on our, you should definitely consider doing this. And the second is go to the dock and just enjoy that. Those are our like main Virgin Voyages. Like you need to do this. Pro tips.
I totally agree. So that is our review of the Splash of Romance package. We're big fans. Again, if you're a Rockstar Suite member sweet guest, then maybe it isn't that enticing for you, but for the rest of us, this is worth it.
And $250 for a full cabin, for the people in the cabin, I think that's awesome.
For both people.
Yeah. I think that's amazing.
If we talked about before, if there's one person in the cabin, you can't share it. You still are paying that price. This is a per cabin. Like they don't care if there's one of you or two of you. That's what it is. So that's good to know.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All right. Anything else?
I think that wraps it up.
All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this special, not quite Valentine's Day, but Valentine's Day-esque Splash of Romance informational session. We've really enjoyed having you guys, and we hope that you guys find a lot of help with what we are sharing with you.
Definitely. And we have told you before that our preferred travel agent for Virgin Voyages is Rick Manfra from A Well-Traveled Life. Rick is currently offering Shutter and Compass followers a special deal. If you book a Virgin cruise with him and you mention Shutter and Compass, he will provide a free box of chocolates through Virgin to your cabin when you get on your ship. So if you would like a free box of chocolates, book with Rick and tell him Shutter and Compass sent you.
We really appreciate you guys. Thanks for following along with us.
Bye, guys.